The October 14, 2014 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
President Adair.
Here.
Mr. Ansello. Ms. Andrews. Mr. Baroth. Ms. Boyce. Dr. Carbone. Mr. Colby. Mr. Daniele. Mr. Delahanty. Mrs. Draw. Mr. Gamble is excused. Mr. Gamina. Mr. Haney. Mr. Howland. Ms. Cayley. Mr. John Lightfoot is excused. Mr. Willie Lightfoot. Mr. Marionetti. Mr. Michike. Mr. Morelli. Dr. Quattro. Ms. Rivera. Mr. Rocco. Mrs. Stick. Ms. Taylor. Mr. Tucciarello. Mrs. Valerio. Mr. Wilcox. Mr. Yolovich.
I would ask tonight that we begin this meeting with a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. Legislator Leslie Rivera will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislator Rivera. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would like you to remain standing. Without objection, we will take agenda item number 12 out of regular agenda order. Item 12 is moved by Mr. Tucciarello. It is seconded by Ms. Andrews. Will the clerk please read the resolution and memoriam for Joseph A. Floriano, the Executive Director of the Rochester Riverside Convention Center.
Expressing regret of the Monroe County Legislature on the recent passing of Joseph A. Floriano, Executive Director of the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Be it resolved that the Monroe County Legislature hereby expresses its deep sympathy and sorrow at the recent passing of Joseph A. Floriano, Executive Director of the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Whereas Joe Floriano passed peacefully on the evening of September 23, 2014, after a 7-month battle with cancer. His passing leaves behind a void in the Monroe County community to which he committed the greater part of his life. And whereas Joe served as Executive Director of the Rochester Riverside Convention Center from its conception in 1983 until his recent passing. His leadership saw more than 3 decades of growth and success at the Convention Center. His leadership at the Convention Center opened the Rochester community as a premier destination for hosting events, from large conventions to weddings to luncheons. He is often noted for his attention to detail, professionalism, and overall lively nature, which led to the success of over 10,000 events. And whereas Joe was honored on September 24th in a ceremony at the Convention Center, where it was renamed as the Joseph A. Floriano Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Those in attendance acclaimed Joe's merits for this memorial by citing his character and dedication as the reason the Convention Center was able to flourish into the institution it is today. And whereas Joe was deeply invested in the Rochester community apart from his professional life, he was an active contributor to several boards, including the Rochester Downtown Development Corporation, the Rochester Broadway Theater League, and the Ronald McDonald House. He served as past president for both the International Association of Venue Managers and the Italian Heritage Foundation. He has even been awarded several honors, including a memorial in his name at the Rotary Sunshine Campus, and is recipient of the Foundation Legacy Award from the International Association of Venue Managers. And whereas deeper still than his professional and community connections was his commitment to his faith and to his family. Joe is survived by his wife of 44 years, Carol, 2 sons, Anthony and his wife Kimberly, and Jason and his wife Lisa, and his 6 grandchildren, Alexandra, Bryn, Lucas, Madison, Anna, and Braden. His love for his family and for his community will be remembered forever. And be it further resolved that the clerk of the legislature is hereby requested to forward a copy of this resolution to the bereaved family. This resolution was adopted unanimously, with each legislator rising in his or her place for a moment of silence.
Thank you. You've received a copy of the Journal of Day 9, September 9, 2014. Without exception, the journal will stand as approved as submitted. There's a hearing loop in place tonight. Anyone requiring assistance should inquire at our clerk's office.
If you have a cellular phone, pager, or other electronic devices in your possession, I would request that you make it inaudible for the duration of the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation.
Legislators, the referrals submitted for the legislature for the next committee cycle are in your folders. At this time, it is my great honor to introduce from our Parks Department, Mark Quinn, who will introduce to us tonight the plan of the month. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. Plant of the month this month is asters. It's one of the most common wildflowers in our state as well as the country. If you were to drive down the thruway this afternoon on this nice day and looked out, you would have seen many purple flowers out in the fields that are really looking great this time of year. So I love asters as a wildflower. I also like it as a cultivated flower here. It's a really nice plant that would go with mums because it has a bunch of blues and purples that you really can't get mums in. It grows relatively easily, but there's a few tricks with it. What you'll see is if you go out to buy this plant, they're beautiful right now. It's a little hard to get them established this time of year. You want to get them in as early as possible so they actually get rooted. So if you're trying to buy them, they tend to sell plants like this when they're really looking good right now. It's a little hard to get them established as a perennial right now because they don't have that much time to grow. So when you do buy them as early as possible if you're trying to get them established for a perennial in your garden, and water them well for the first until they're established. Once they're established, they don't take much work at all. Maybe every 3 or 4 years you might divide them and make another clump, probably best done in early spring. From a care standpoint, the other problem we tend to have with asters is they like to be tall. The ones you'll see as wildflowers are probably from waist to shoulder high. Even the cultivated varieties tend to get taller and a little leggier than you want. So what you need to do with these flowers is actually pinch them back in the early summer up through about early July. You actually take the growing tips off them so they get bushy and stay more compact. And that's true with a lot of flowers, but particularly true with asters. Again, beautiful flower. They come in blues, purples, some reds and whites. Mostly we have purples up here, but you can find them in blues as well. They're a really nice companion flower, again, to mums, which do not come in that color and bloom at the same time. Blooms right up through frost. It's a very late bloomer, likes full sun, great garden plant. And once you get them established, they really do well and live for years and years and years. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark. This evening we have several proclamations scheduled. Madam Clerk.
Would Justin Collins, Bill Rosica, Mike Boehm, Mike Favada, and Mike Chirula please come forward? Also, President Jeffrey R. Adair and Legislator Carla F. Boyce. Whereas the Badge of Honor Association was founded in May 2007 by Rochester police officers Justin Collins, Brian Phillips, Thomas Minerka, Eric Alexander, Ed Burnaby, Brent Newfer, Lori Robinson, and Richard Waldo. The organization is comprised of dedicated members of law enforcement agencies who work diligently to help raise funds which are used to honor fallen members of the emergency service community. And whereas the Badge of Honor Association helps to promote camaraderie within the law enforcement community and to build a strong bond between the Rochester Police Department and the citizens of the Rochester community. The association has grown since its inception to over 45 members from the police departments throughout Monroe County. And whereas, from the beginning, the Badge of Honor Association has taken an active role in giving back to the community. The association hosts two major fundraising events, the Policeman's Ball and the Kappa-Palooza, and the funds collected from these events go towards the association's philanthropic causes. The association has raised approximately $44,000 for local charities. And whereas, after the tragic loss of Officer Darrell Pearson, the Badge of Honor Association held a memorial fundraiser in honor of Officer Pearson and helped to raise funds for the Pearson family. The Badge of Honor Association is an invaluable part of our community, and the work done by its dedicated policemen and volunteers is truly inspiring. Now, therefore, we, Jeffrey R. Adair, President, and Carla F. Boyce, Legislator District 5, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby recognize and congratulate the Badge of Honor Association for its outstanding service to the citizens of Monroe County. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Our group's been going for about 7 years. We feel very strongly about honoring police officers killed in the line of duty. We cover Buffalo all the way out to Syracuse. So we're a growing organization, all volunteer. We don't get paid to do this. We do this because we believe, and I think we've seen recently in Monroe County with the loss of Officer Pearson, of course, Chipperini and Thomas Kachuka, that it can hit home. It is real. But this is something that we put our heart and soul into, and it means a lot to us. We know police officers go out in the street every day, risk their life, and they don't know if they're coming home to their families. So having this organization we found really helps to continue to build that brotherhood and that bond. It's just huge, and we have a ball coming up February 21st that we're all geared up right now. We usually do about 700. Our goal is to do about 1,000 people and continue to build that bond and continue to give back to the community. So thank you very much for this honor. It's awesome. Thank you.
Would Tracy Weinstein, please come forward. Also, President Jeffrey R. Adair and Legislator Joseph Morelli, Jr. Whereas Tracy Weinstein, a 5th grade student from the Iroquois Middle School in Irondequoit, became inspired to help others in need. Tracy learned about the nonprofit organization Souls for Souls, which donates shoes to adults and children all over the world, and took it upon herself to help. And whereas Tracy Weinstein organized her first shoe drive in August, which resulted in collecting over 3,000 pairs of shoes. She held a second shoe drive in September at the Irondequoit Town Hall and has to date collected over 7,000 pairs of shoes. Tracy is continuing to collect both new and used shoes and is continually working towards her goal of 25,000 pairs of shoes. And whereas Tracy Weinstein was born in Guatemala and knew that she wanted to be involved in a charity that would help those less fortunate in Guatemala. Tracy, her mother Nancy, and her family will travel to Guatemala next summer to personally distribute the shoes she has collected. And whereas Tracy Weinstein displays a passion to help others that is admirable. She is a positive role model to both her fellow students and the entire community. Tracy is a thoughtful, driven young woman who is truly making the world a better place. Now, therefore, let it be known that we, Jeffrey R. Adair, President, and Joseph Morelli, Jr., Legislator District 17, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby honor Tracy Weinstein for her dedication to those in need and inspiring others to make a difference. Congratulations.
Legislators, you have in your folders the approved minutes from the last cycle. There are no committee reports scheduled for this evening. We will now hold public forum. We have several people registered to address the legislature. Madam Clerk.
If you require assistance, a deputy is available to assist you in approaching the lectern. I will call 3 people forward at one time. Each speaker will have 2 minutes in which to address the legislature, and kindly conclude your remarks when the timer sounds and exit through the back of the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. Our first 3 speakers will be Paul Furcella, Mary Ellen Belding, and Dorothea Champlin.
The very poor conduct of Monroe County continues. About a month ago, several homeless advocates were treated very poorly and arrested, and this is a disgrace to this community. Monroe County owes them a sincere apology. Also about that time, a Monroe County employee was treated poorly, forced to retire, and forced to contribute to a political party. This man is owed an apology by Monroe County, and he should be given his job back with some compensation for his troubles. In the light of these 2 occurrences of poor Monroe County behavior, I encourage all voters to vote appropriately in the coming election.
New York State has not yet taken over Medicaid. I've worked at DSS for 28 years, and it took me about 5 minutes to figure out that the state does nothing on its original timetable, which in this case was about a 5-year plan to start with that is about a year and a half off already. On 10/1, the state was to start taking over some of the cases from some of the counties, and yet that has now been moved to March 2015. Yet this administration's strategic plan for reallocation of Medicaid staff is going forward unchanged. This is like your surgeon saying, sorry the anesthesiologist isn't here yet, but surgery is scheduled to start at 9, so we're going to start cutting. My team has lost 1 senior examiner and 3 workers, and the SSI Medicaid team is being disbanded. With 2 Medicaid teams left, 1 for people over 65 and under, we will have most of those cases dumped on us. This is a disservice to every disabled and elderly person we serve dependent on us for their medical care. Because you see, the state's going to take those healthy, employed people first. We were already at the bottom of the lake, and you have thrown us an anchor. Is it any wonder we keep voting no to your crappy contract offers? I, in no way, shape, or form, surrendered my First Amendment right when I took this job, and despite the target that is on me, for being openly critical, I will continue to exercise that right as a voter, a state, federal, and county taxpayer and homeowner. Some people tell me, oh, you should be quiet, you're too close to retirement. But my liberal, democratic, socially conscious parents did not maze me to look out for number 1 and simply smile politely and say how lovely are the emperor's new set of clothes. Thank you.
Our last 2 speakers are Grace Miller and Merle Morales. Also, Mary Ellen Belding.
Why is it that 2 vital issues affecting the poor of Rochester, cost of burials for the poor, and now the county putting the homeless out of the Civic Center garage without providing another building for them? Why is it that Maggie Brooks turns a cold heart to them and refuses to listen to their cries? Furthermore, she even refuses to meet with us to discuss this very serious situation. Today, the homeless are dispersed throughout the city and county, camping outside, worrying about a winter that is soon approaching, and above all, haunted by the question, will they survive the winter? But all you Republicans go right along with Maggie Brooks, a woman who put the homeless out on the streets. If one homeless person freezes to death this winter, you, along with Maggie Brooks, will be held responsible. The county is saying and believing they are doing a great job in helping the homeless, but there are many left that are not being helped. And what the county says, it's their fault if they don't do what we want them to do or go where we want them to go. It is not true that the homeless do not want to help. Most of them have serious mental issues. Many of them have lost hope. Many of them have been homeless for years, and they've been in the Civic Center garage for years. And it'll take much more time, effort, and compassion, and care, and concern to help them. They don't need criticism. They need your compassion and your understanding. It takes time to help them out of the crisis they already experience. And to write them off the way you are doing is heartless and cruel. I want to set another record straight. A DNC article on October 3rd, 2014 states, county officials have no plans to compete with existing shelters and balked at Miller's proposal, saying they are barred from funding any program that encourages drug and alcohol abuse. I am appalled at the county's boldness in publicly and falsely attacking the House of Mercy. It is a known fact, if the county really wants to know the truth, and they do know because Kelly Reed has visited the House of Mercy many times in the past, that we do not encourage drug and alcohol abuse. And if you want to see where that alcohol and drug abuse is, you are paying $1 million a year to house people at the Cadillac Hotel, a hotspot for drugs and alcohol. So who is supporting drugs and alcohol? Not the House of Mercy. You need to look at yourselves and at Maggie Brooks and find out what it is you are going to do to change this situation. To leave it the way it is heartless.
Please summarize.
We all know that you said summarize.
Please summarize.
I'm going to.
Okay, we're past 2 minutes. Let's go. Hurry up, please.
Okay. You have a legal responsibility for taking care of the poor, and that comes from the New York State Constitution, 17th Amendment, and it's done through the county. You also have a moral responsibility. When Jesus says in Scripture, I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was shelterless, when I was without a home, when I was homeless, you gave me shelter. You have both a moral and a legal responsibility to take care of the homeless that are all over our city and county.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mrs. Morales. We are the people in the world, the poor and the homeless, the ill. The laws are not made to help us. They are cruel and unjust. When we had places for the mentally ill and homeless, they were closed down, and those that lived there were put in the streets. How do you not care for the less fortunate? How can you turn your heads on a world of unfortunate people that cry to you for the betterment of United States? Changes come and go. You cannot turn your head forever. Where is the liberty and the justice for all? When will you stop lying and do the right things? We can make this a better world for all. We are the children who should make a difference and a better world. Every time a door is shut, closed, or you block the needy, you do an injustice service to mankind, to our future jobless, sick, homeless, poor. It is an injustice, and you will one day answer. If you don't want people hanging around and giving your so-called beauty a bad look, do the right thing. Many that are here smoke, drink, lie, and steal, husbands and wives, those that are elected to office. Do the right thing. The right thing is the lives of others that depend on you. Don't put your finger up pointing to them and turning them off without turning the finger on yourself first. Not only do we need shoes, we need warmth and shelter, food and love. Not only is this getting cold outside, Monroe County and the city have cold hearts, and their warmth is for themselves. You can build your downtown, but no fun for the poor, homeless, and mentally ill.
This concludes the public forum.
We will now proceed with considerations of motions, resolutions, and notices. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Item number 1, referral 14-0267.
Moved by Legislator Ansel. It is seconded by Legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item.
Item number 2, referral 14-0268.
Moved by Legislator Ansel, seconded by Legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 3, referral 14-0269.
Moved by Legislator Ansel. It is seconded by Legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item.
Item number 4, referral 14-0270.
Moved by Legislator Marinetti, seconded by Legislator Taylor. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 5, referral 14-0271.
Moved by Legislator Colby. It is seconded by Legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 6, referral 14-0272.
Moved by Legislator Colby. It is seconded by Legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion at this time? Legislator Cayley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just, first of all, through you to the administration, would like to thank you for the answers that were received prior to this meeting. But they did bring up a couple questions for me that I would just like clarified. And through you to the administration, the figures that we were given were the number of inoculations from 2008 yearly to present day 8/31/2014. And it shows a significant drop in number of inoculations done during the program. Could you give me an explanation, if it's an easy explanation, as to why we have almost come to a little bit over 50% drop if the year bore out the numbers the way it has in the past?
Through the president, there's no, I guess, maybe easier single answer that sort of explains, that drop. We suspect there are a variety, I guess, maybe of reasons. Some of those were discussed maybe in committee, which include, some of folks, their attitudes, and then some of the regulatory environment in terms of the vaccinations that they will receive, but also the fact that, some folks receive some of those vaccines in other places that are less easily captured.
Thank you. And I realize that can be hard to track. Is this something going forward through the president to the administration that would be tracked if possible? And do we have any idea how many children might be missing out on inoculations?
Through the president, there are steps that are being taken right now to sort of improve the completion of the reporting. So some of that is dependent upon the state's own efforts with regards to how they manage their own state-based registry and the information that feeds into that. And then some of that actually reflects, if you will, related to that, in the community, different providers, putting their information into that system, which is not easily captured automatically from their electronic health records that they have in use. And so when you sort of have barriers there that doesn't do that automatically, then you have to think about what the barriers are in terms of the effort, the time, and then just some of the processes.
Thank you. And then just, I guess, one last one. Because the number is down through the administration, through the chair, excuse me, through the president to the administration.
You got it right.
The amount of funding that has been, that's being accepted through the grant, I'm assuming that the large amount for 2013 to 15 is because services were rendered through 13 and going into 15, and you could just say yes or no at one point. But my concern is if the numbers stay as they are in decline, does this contract reflect the total amount not to exceed? I think it's per year. I just lost my paper. Or is this the contractor billing back per patient seen?
Through the president, reflects the former. Not to exceed.
Not to exceed. So then through the president, I probably just made my own question more difficult for me to understand. In other words, the amount will be there regardless of how many inoculations have been made. That was what I was getting to through the president.
Through the president, yes and no. To some extent, this money that we receive is contingent upon us, meeting certain quality measures, and that's not true of us. That's true throughout all of New York State, and that perhaps reflects what's going on nationally, including money that may originate with a federal agency such as the CDC, where in the past, if you received maybe a certain amount of money and you did a certain amount of maybe work, you would receive that money perhaps more routinely. And in more recent years, we've seen across several of our programs, the idea that you need to be having certain improvements on certain metrics. And if you don't, then there is a possibility that some of the money that you were receiving previously could be reduced. And similar to that, for those that are performing compared to certain metrics, they may be awarded additional funding.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item.
Item number 7, referral 14-0273.
Moved by legislator Colby, second by legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item.
Item number 8, referral 14-0274, accepting.
Moved by legislator Colby, second by legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion on the item? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 9, referral 14-0275.
Moved by legislator Michikade, second by legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item, please.
Item number 10, referral 14-0275BR.
It's moved by legislator Michikade, second by legislator Yolovich. Is there any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? The item carries. Next item.
Item number 11, referral 14-0279.
Moved by legislator Yolovich and Rocco, seconded by legislator Lightfoot and legislator Adair and legislator Haney. You're getting close. Yeah, it's good. Okay, you're all on the second now. Okay. You think Tom's worried over there that he's not going to get elected? I don't know. Is there any discussion on the reappointment of our election commissioner tonight? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? The item carries. You are reappointed. Told you it was going to be close. Okay, there being no unfinished business tonight, Legislator Tucciarella.
Mr. President, we stand adjourned until 6 p.m. Wednesday, November 12th, 2014. Thank you all.